Well, we can't thank you guys enough.
Oh wait,
for-
I am not done.
I thought you were giving me a cue to wrap it up.
No, you just take it away.
Welcome back, everyone, to another episode of the Perks and Paving. We have a very special episode today. We welcome a dynamic duo into the studio. Not only are they brother and sister, but they're also business partners who took over the Air Duct Maintenance Supply Company located in Bakerstown here in Pennsylvania. They go way back with Paige, all the way to the track of Deer Lake High School, where both Paige and Lauren won a 4x1 gold in the Whiphill. But they've been best friends ever since. And Lauren was one of the first friends that Paige ever talked about, so I knew that she was very close to her. And the first time we ever met was picking you up from a country concert at Tortuga in Fort Lauderdale in the Blue FJ. That was fun. But fast forward to today, we have the president and vice president, Dan and Lauren LaHerbier. Welcome to the show.
Thank you.
Glad to be here. Thanks for the invite, and really looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Thank you for having us.
We're so excited. We've been talking about it, I feel like, since we started having the podcast, but we knew we had to have you guys on. So we're glad you guys got the opportunity to take a break in your day and come and spend some time with us.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's an honor.
Yeah.
So both of you have very big life news, right? So we'll start with Dan, who's now a new father to baby Charlotte.
She's so cute.
Yeah.
6 months old, and I don't care who you are, but those first couple months are super tough.
Yeah.
But it starts to get easier and more fun as she gets older, and it's been such a cool experience.
Yeah.
She's a cutie for sure.
And Lauren has some new hardware on her hand.
Oh,
that she,
yeah. Show it
I'll just
off.
Yes.
So,
I'm very excited. Was not expecting it on the first day of our trip, but definitely super excited to plan a wedding and get to marry my best friend. So I'm looking forward to it.
And without a doubt, you guys will be coming too, so that'll be something we can all look forward
we're so
to.
excited.
So excited.
So she got engaged in New Hampshire, and it was beautiful with like all the fall leaves at the top of a mountain, and it was just breathtaking. And I'm sure you just are like reliving the moment over and over. It just looked so magical. So I'm so happy for you.
Yeah.
And,
Definitely a great addition to the family too.
oh yeah, Victor is the best.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I guess I'll
Shout
just
out to
shout out.
Victor.
Hey Victor.
But so Danny, tell us a little bit more about your transition into fatherhood and, you know, being the president of Air Duct Maintenance.
Yeah.
How has that transition gone? Has it been difficult to manage father life and work life, or has it been an easy transition for you?
Well, I think you left a key part out, the wife as well.
Yes.
So, you know, that's equally as difficult in its own way, you know, but no, she's an amazing mother, and it's definitely been a learning experience being our first child. And, you know, Lauren and I both are people that put in a lot of hours or do whatever we need to do to work on the business and everything. And it's definitely been a little bit of an adjustment for me, because now if I get home a little bit after 5 or something like that, it's more of a big deal. And just with, you know, networking events and things like that, Lauren and I go to a lot of different events to work on growing the company and meet new people. And I've definitely had to scale back that a little bit. I have found that I now have to play a lot more business golf. Not as much golf on the weekends available. But no, it's been good. Really, my work day in the office hasn't changed, but it's just, you know, more about balancing and planning out the evenings. Right. But we've been able to make it work and, you know, not take any gas off, you know, growing the company. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it's definitely an added challenge, and definitely had some sleepless nights that made the day a little long, but it's been good.
Yeah, you guys are like an all-star couple, so I'm sure you guys are handling it
We're
just
trying.
great. But so
Speaking about the company, can you guys tell us a little bit more about the company and what kind of separates you from people in the industry as well?
Yeah. So just a couple things about air duct maintenance in general. We specialize in indoor air quality, so we clean HVAC systems for residential, commercial, industrial, and healthcare facilities. And we also do dry vent cleaning as well. But a few things, and then I'm sure Dan will want to add on to it, but we only do air duct cleaning. So we don't do like carpet cleaning, mold remediation. We don't do anything else but air duct cleaning. So that's a big advantage I think we have over our competition, because our guys do air duct cleaning every single day. So the experience level is definitely higher. Yeah. We also like train our technicians before they go out in the field, and they're certified by the National Air Duct Cleaners Association. So we try everything that we can to keep them educated and prepared for what's out there.
Yeah, that was a great answer. I think the only things that I'll add is just, you know, we were for a long time the only company in the Pittsburgh area that was offering this service, and it's gotten more and more popular over the years as people become more aware of indoor air quality and the benefits of having a clean system. So yeah, I mean, we have an extensive training program. We get all of our technicians certified, which we're one of the only companies in the country that do that.
That's awesome.
But yeah, like Lauren said, having your technicians doing this every day, you know, compared to people that offer a variety of services that their technicians do, makes a big difference. And then just, you know, the equipment that we have is kind of on another level from our competitors, and we have a variety of different equipment for different situations, and basically are prepared for any type of job, which, you know, is, I think, part of the reason that even our competitors refer us sometimes.
Okay.
You know, like, as weird as that sounds,
Yeah.
sometimes they get to a job and they can't do the work for some reason, so they'll refer them to us. So
Nice.
we like to think of them as friendly competitors.
Yeah.
But yeah,
I'm
you
sure
know,
there's enough air ducts for everyone
Yeah.
to clean, right?
Yeah.
there's plenty to go around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
If you think about it, any building that has an HVAC
Right.
system, which is pretty much every building,
Yeah.
is a potential customer for us. So
Now, I know we still need to get our air ducts cleaned. We've been meaning to give you guys a call for like the last few months since my dad finished installing our floors, because that was your recommendation to us to make sure all the construction was done.
Yep.
So we need to give you guys a call. But is there a certain time of year that's better than another to have your air ducts cleaned?
I'll start by saying, of course, we're going to hook you up with a sweet deal. So don't worry about that. Yeah, I mean, there's really not a time of the year that's better for having it done, but there's definitely more popular times. Like the fall and the spring are busy seasons. Like the fall leading into the heating season, a lot of people are starting to turn their heat on for the first time. They might, you know, have issues or odors, or maybe they're getting a new furnace. They might have turned it on and find out that it doesn't work. So, you know, anytime you get new equipment, it's recommended. But yeah, the fall and the spring are always really busy. But thankfully, we've gotten to the point where our company has grown to the point where we really don't slow down throughout the year.
That's awesome.
5-10 years ago, we used to have, you know, a big stock of technicians that would handle the busy season, but then we'd have to lay some people off in the slower times of the year. But it has gotten to the point where we stay steady, running just as many crews all throughout the year, which is exciting and, you know, nice to be at that level now. But we've really been trying to grow the commercial side of our business, and a lot of those big commercial jobs that we've been doing, we'll try to strategically schedule those when like the residential side of the business is a little bit slower. It's
Okay.
like the dead of winter or the middle of summer.
Yeah.
So kind of works out well, like balancing it out with that.
And then another question I have is, how often should someone get their air ducts cleaned?
So we follow the National Air Duct Cleaners Association on
Yeah.
what they recommend, and they've run tests and done research, and every 3 to 5 years is what we recommend to have the air ducts cleaned.
Okay.
Now that depends on multiple different factors. So if you have allergies or asthma, or people that have asthma in
Yeah.
the home, every 3 years is what we would recommend, or even more often. We have customers that call us and they have it done every year.
Okay.
Now that's rare.
Yeah.
I would definitely recommend at least every 3 years for something like that. But if there's like a larger family in the home, multiple pets that shed, I would recommend every 3 years. And now if it's a couple people and not a lot of pets, no allergies, asthma, or other health issues, every 5 years is what we would recommend.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to add on to that, you know, it's not life or death if you wait longer than that recommendation, but that's what the studies show. At that point in time, you would start to notice the negative effects of a dirty system and poor indoor air quality. So that's where that recommendation comes from. But it's kind of funny. We actually have this one particular customer that we joke is our, you know, best residential customer ever.
Yeah.
He had it done like 6 or 7 times in 1 year.
Oh my gosh.
And we actually told him, we were like, look, man, you don't have to do it that often. Like, we would love to do it for you again, but you really don't need to have it done this often.
Yeah.
We said that after like the second or third time.
Yeah.
But it was just someone that was kind of a clean freak and
I just like
just,
some fresh air.
you
man.
know,
Yeah, fresh air.
Nothing wrong with that.
he was just very particular with his home, and you know, we were happy to help him,
Yeah.
but we were honest about it too.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, we always want to be honest with our customers. I mean, we'll give our professional opinion, but everyone's level of cleanliness is different.
Right.
So, I mean, some people that get it done once in their lifetime, I'd probably recommend doing it more than that.
Yeah.
But, I mean, everyone's level of cleanliness is different.
Yeah.
Now, a couple other things that I would recommend having the air ducts cleaned is, like you said, with construction.
Right.
So if you're renovating your home, I would say after a renovation, definitely get the air ducts cleaned. A lot of times people don't cover the vents, so the dust and debris just gets right down into the air ducts and just recirculates.
We had ours
So.
wide open.
Yep.
Nothing
Yep.
covering them, vents off and all.
Yeah.
So.
It's funny, like, we even do a lot of brand new homes before people move in, just from the construction debris. And this one time, we got to a lady's house. It was a newer home, and I think actually it was like 3 or 4 years old, but she said, see if you can find anything unique about this particular vent over in this one room. She was like, we've never had any airflow. Come out of there. So, you know, we start cleaning and everything. Here we find there's a pizza box jammed down in the duct.
Okay.
So it was just totally blocking off the airflow since the house was built,
Oh my gosh.
which is crazy that kind of stuff happens. But we find pop cans,
So I was gonna
lunch
say, what's the
sandwich bags.
craziest thing you found in an air duct?
Well, I'll go and you can go too.
Okay.
So I feel like the craziest thing we found was a rare blue lobster. I know, right? So
Where was this?
one of our technicians found it, and the customer goes, "Oh, that's where Larry went," or whatever his name was.
Oh my
but
gosh.
So it was a
he-
pet?
Yeah, it was their pet blue lobster, and it was like a rare blue lobster, and it must have went down the vent and just
That's
never
so
came back. So we have a picture of it, like out of it, but yeah, it's pretty interesting. I think that's the craziest one I've heard.
Yeah.
I have a few that like
Let's hear 'em.
just are really stand out that I
Okay.
want to just share each of them real
Yes.
quick. So my favorite one to share is one time we were doing a cleaning and the technicians found a box of $50,000 in cash.
Nuh-uh.
And
Wow.
you know, years ago people didn't really trust the banks as much, and they would hide their money throughout the house under mattresses, whatever. So I think the way it worked is the people had either just moved into that house or something, but they either forgot or didn't know that the money was in there, and you know, at the end of the day, they ended up with $50,000 that they weren't expecting.
That is
so
awesome.
so that was really cool. You know, you'd think they'd give a nice tip, but you know. Another
No tip
one,
that day?
someone had a
I have no
loaded
idea, actually.
someone had a loaded gun in a duct one time, and while we were cleaning, the gun went off.
No.
Yeah, and it, you know, shot through the house. Didn't hurt anybody, luckily, but that was kind of a freaky one. And then the final one I'll share is on Halloween one year.
Oh yeah.
Our technician was doing a cleaning, and we have like a big vacuum hose that we connect up to the duct, which everything gets pushed back to and
Okay.
sucked out and collected in the truck. So when he went to disconnect his vacuum hose at the end of the job, a skeleton fell out.
Yeah.
And it wasn't a human one, but it was a large animal. Like, we still don't have any idea of how it got in there, but it was just funny because this skeleton fell out and it happened to be on Halloween.
That is so,
So,
Yeah.
funny.
Yeah.
Wow.
The
But,
guy said he jumped like 10 feet. Like he literally
Yeah.
he
Like you
pulled
guys
the
are
hose
pulling a
down and
prank
this
on
thing
him
is
or
just
something.
like staring
That's what it
at him.
sounds like.
Yeah.
I
So-
would have literally thought someone was pulling a prank.
So those are some of the standout ones. We also rescue a lot of cats out of ductwork. every time we've got them out alive, which is great. And I've rescued at least one, maybe more wedding rings that fell down the duct.
Really?
I kind of, snake
Yeah.
a camera down through there with a little grabber, and
Okay.
I was able to get it out, which was pretty cool.
That's
He likes to
awesome.
say he saved a marriage.
Yeah, I'm sure you did. Was it a women's ring or was it?
It was a women's wedding band, so it wasn't
Okay.
like the big engagement ring,
Okay.
Yeah.
but still,
Yeah.
sentimental value
Yeah.
and the value of the ring.
Yeah,
So
for sure.
So since you've taken over in these leadership roles in your business, what are some things that you guys have put a lot of focus on to help grow and change, specifically as related to you guys compared to when your parents were running the business?
Yeah.
There you go.
So a few things I think that really we've worked on and focused on is networking is one big one. We like to network to get to know people, get connected with people, but also educate people too on the importance of indoor air quality. So networking is huge for us. We've really grown that. We've joined multiple different groups and tried to meet as many people as we possibly can. That's actually how I met my fiance, is networking.
That's such
So,
a cute story.
Yeah. So that is one way. Also, just technology. I feel like a lot of
once we kind of got the reins of the company, because there was some resistance to change, going from everything on paper to everything on the computer
Yeah.
for like someone in, the older generation. That was a big step and overwhelming, and probably part of the reason why we never got one up to that point. So when we got that program in place, it handles everything from the initial sales call coming in, to the invoice and final email
Okay.
at the end. So like everything in between, like the job notes for the technicians, payment, collection, all of that
That's
is done in
awesome.
one program. So it's really nice, and it saves everybody so much time. I
Yeah.
mean, literally everyone in the office, everyone in the field, it saves so much time and makes us look a lot more professional too. Like we have a really nice computer generated invoice that goes out quoting.
Yeah.
The customer communication is a big thing that we gain from that. So like there's an automatic email reminder that goes out 24 hours before your appointment, an appointment text reminder the morning of, and just things for like customer retention, like sending out intro emails to past customers, things like that. It's just been great for a number of different reasons. Yeah, I mean, that was a big change. And then we really kind of restructured the company a little bit too, where like our father, for example, when he retired, like he finally had gotten to the point where he was not really in the day-to-day activities and like needed in the daily operations. But, we added some new positions in the office, kind of restructured things to basically take Lauren and I out of the daily operations, which frees us up to work on the company versus in it, and allows us to go to more networking events and work on, different growth strategies, and, more time we can spend on marketing, advertising, things like that.
go
So
on podcasts.
Yeah.
yeah, so the new structure was also a huge change and a huge improvement as well.
Yeah. Now, I don't remember the story specifically, but I know that it was a really cool one, how your dad started the company back in,
Yeah.
you said 1996, right?
Yeah. So
Walk us through that again, because I want to
So-
hear it
It's
again.
my favorite.
Yeah.
it's a great story.
Yeah.
So at the time, our parents had separate jobs, and they bought a piece of land and wanted to build a house. Lauren and I were born, but very young. And when they were building the house, my dad, he's pretty handy, like your dad,
Yeah.
Paige, and knows a lot about a lot of different trades and stuff. So he chose to, save the money and act as the general contractor himself. So once the house was finished being built, he noticed how dirty the HVAC system was, between drywall, sawdust, and all the above. So he thought it would be a good idea for our family to have the ductwork cleaned before we moved in. And he could not find anybody in the area that offered anything like that service. So that gave them the idea, and they were always entrepreneurial minded. They had, a couple other businesses before that worked out good. I think they sold them. And basically, my dad took 2 weeks vacation from his job, went out to Michigan and trained with another company that specialized in this, worked for free. He just said, he called him up and said, hey, can I come work with you and learn this?
Yeah.
So he took a big step and basically came back, got the equipment that was needed, and started the company. And at first it was just him on the truck, like part-time, like on weekends and everything. Eventually got, another person to help, then another crew, and it just continued to grow from there. And, we're happy to say that the company has still grown every single year since it started. But yeah, I mean, that's a great example of why, even new construction homes and commercial buildings should have it done.
Yeah, for sure. Now, obviously, the business has always been very important to you guys since your parents previously were the owners. But did you guys always know that you guys were going to work with at Air Duct?
So I did not.
Yeah.
I went to school
Which
for
I
marketing.
knew, but I
Yeah.
which I knew, but I want the viewers to know. So
Transition.
tell us your story.
So I did not. I actually was like, air duct cleaning, that, I don't know. I don't even know what my parents do, right?
Yeah.
So I went to school for marketing. I wanted to work in kind of an advertising agency, and new product development is kind of what I wanted to go into. I actually, after graduating undergrad, I flew out to Colorado, wanted to live out west, took a few interviews. On my flight back, I was like, this is not what I want to do. Yeah. At the time, we still had all our grandparents living, and I didn't want to miss anything. I wanted to be close to my family. I mean, Dan and I are best friends. We're close with our parents. So I was like, okay, well, what about in Pittsburgh, right? So I tried to get my MBA. I didn't get in right away. So I was like, well, I know where I can get some work experience. Went and worked at the family business, and 8 years later, I'm still here.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really like the industry. I really like what our parents have built, and actually working side by side with them, I realized how much more it is than just air duct cleaning, right? It is just so great to see what they've built and how hard they've worked, and all the people that really admire them and look up to them in the industry. That's really cool for me, and I'm sure Dan as well, to see the HVAC contractors and restoration contractors calling our father to see what he recommends for indoor air quality. I mean, that was a big eye-opener for me. Like, my dad is the expert in this. So that was really cool, and I wanted to be a part of it.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and I have a similar story, but basically, I right after college decided to go into my MBA, and I knew that whatever I decided to do, that would be helpful. So I still wasn't sure if I was going to go into the family business or not. But then as I was going through the MBA program, I started to realize the great opportunity that we had there to continue on. And, I knew for me it was important to work somewhere else first, because I wanted to, kind of work somewhere that utilized the finance degree that I started with. And I also wanted to just get, the experience of working in like a bigger corporate company. That way I always had that to compare in my own head. So I worked at a big Fortune 500 insurance company, and I loved it. It was one of those things like, huge company, huge cafe. Like I would go in and get a big omelet every morning to start my day. Like it was just really nice, a lot of benefits and everything.
Priorities.
But I
You
realized
mean
that
Lauren doesn't make you omelets every morning?
No.
Bring them to the office
we
for
should
you?
start that.
Maybe.
But yeah, I realized that, I wanted to be my own boss, and I also realized that our parents had put their heart and soul into growing and starting this company, and it was just in a really good spot where we could take it and bring it to the next level. So that's our goal, and I quickly realized that that was what I wanted to do, and once we got in, we also realized that, hey, just because our company does air duct cleaning doesn't mean that, we are going to be out doing air duct cleaning every day. So with a lot of businesses, it's more about running the business in our kind of role than it is actually what the company does.
Right.
I love air duct cleaning. I love the indoor air quality industry, but I really love running a business and working on growing a company. So yeah, it ended up being a great fit for me as well.
Yeah.
So kind of circling back to that point too, you mentioned when you guys took over that implementing technology to advance the company, also freeing up some time to network to further grow. Those are the changes that you guys made. What were some of the most valuable advice that your parents gave you with their years of experience with you guys assuming the leadership role and taking on, the family business? What were some things that you found incredibly valuable, or just some words of wisdom that were shared with you guys?
Great question. You want to go first?
Sure. So one thing I struggled with was whenever the first day they weren't in the office, I was like, oh, wow, they're looking at us. Like, what? Like, are we sure this is real? Right? So I struggled for a little bit with just dealing with our employees on different levels, understanding that every individual person is different and how to handle each situation. And one piece of advice my parents gave me is every person is different, right? So you have to kind of cater to their needs. There could be somebody that likes to hear you say, you're doing a really good job, like, here's a gold star, right? And then there's other people that are more private and don't want that recognition. And that was really coming from my mom, because she dealt with the HR side of things, which is kind of the role I went into. And that really helped me grow in my position and also just as a leader in the industry or in the company. I feel like I can kind of read people more and see what they need and kind of how to make them feel welcomed and that they're doing a good job. Or even in the reverse side, if they do something that isn't what we want, how can I handle approaching them and talking to them about improvements, right? So that was something I really struggled with when I first started, and her telling me, okay, just look at each person individually and how they need to be addressed, and that helped me a lot.
Yeah. I mean, still to this day, and probably most business owners would agree with this, but the hardest thing is actually managing everybody and trying to keep everybody happy. And, one thing that our father, Kevin, always, really stressed to both of us, but more so me in what my roles would be, is to gain the respect of everybody there. Because there were people that were at the company before we started, so you really have to go out there, be present in the morning before they leave, get to know the people, and basically prove to everybody that you know what you're talking about and gain that respect. And we've been able to do that very successfully. And, the handling of different problem situations is important, being fair and always, thinking of it as, I always use the quote, it's not personal, it's just business, You can't let your personal feelings affect the business decision. Like you have to keep the same rules for everybody. You have to be fair. And even if someone's given you a heartfelt story, you can't bend the rules for that person, So we learned those kind of things. And then, our father, Kevin, always was big into networking. He just didn't really have a ton of time to do it. Between raising us kids and working in the business versus having like those positions covered by somebody else, we're able to do a lot more than he did. But he is the one that built a lot of the relationships that we still have today, companies that give us a lot of work. We got to give him the credit. I mean, he built all those relationships. Yeah. We've built a lot of new ones, but he really was a hard worker. That both of our parents were, and they did a great job of getting it to the point that they left it.
And building on that too, when our parents started the company, and there wasn't anyone in the industry in the area, right? So educating those HVAC companies and restoration companies on the importance of our service was huge. And our dad would set up, Kevin, would set up meetings to go over with the HVAC contractors and their technicians on what our service was and why it's important. And those relationships are still standing. So,
it's always about explaining the why.
Yep.
This is why you need us.
Yeah.
This is why we do what we do.
Exactly.
Yeah. And there's, it's probably around 200 now. There's like 200 heating and mechanical contractor companies that refer us solely, which is pretty much, if not all of them.
Yeah.
So, to gain that referral from other people that are out in the field, working with HVAC systems as well, doing the mechanical side of things, their referral is very important. Customers really value their referral. Like if a customer asks their heating company if they do air duct cleaning and they say no, but you should call this company, that's really valuable. So, those companies are our bread and butter, and we give them top priority in our schedule. We make sure that everything goes perfectly, to hold on to those relationships.
Well, we can't thank you guys enough.
Oh wait,
for-
I am not done.
I thought you were giving me a cue to wrap it up.
No, you're just take it away.
I also want to ask real quick. I just want to hear, how you guys have made the transition into a new career, working together. Since we talked about how we work together, which we've been able to work together very well. How do you guys like working together, and how do you separate personal and work? Because I know, like with our family, especially when we all lived under one roof, we'd come home in the evenings, we'd be sitting at dinner talking about work.
Yeah.
How's it going at the
The
Perkins residence?
household.
Yeah.
I think we do a pretty good job are there times where we bring stuff from work home? Yes. But I think we do a pretty good job of separating the two. But it is nice when we do have those questions, and right now we're working on all the same accounts. So it's nice to have that person there at the same time to, if something happens late night and we need to resolve something, we both are there and able to get it resolved quickly. So that's a positive. But we've always worked together since we started dating. So
she's been an awesome resource she's been here longer. And now with her being in a sales role, being able to experience that aspect of it, I'm more in the management, but just listening and absorbing her being in the same office. I have my own workspace, but I pretty much spend most of my day in her office. The communication line is significantly easier that way.
So you have like a work voice and a personal voice you turn on and off?
But it's been awesome just to learn from her. I think we make an amazing team. Yes, there's ups and downs just like with every team, but I think just communicating where we're coming from and focusing on the client and the job at hand. And I learn something new every day. I truly say that. And I've been here 5 months now, and it's been awesome. Yeah. I mean, we have a podcast, so it can't be going that bad, right?
We have our name on the wall out there. Yeah, that's pretty crazy. But
pretty awesome.
It can definitely be a challenge at times, like working with family. But it can also be really rewarding. And if you do it right, it can be the best thing ever. Yeah.
So. He's a great teammate. So no one else I'd rather have on my team at work and outside of work. So.
I love that.
That's cool.
Yeah. But I wanted to touch on some of my favorite memories with you guys. Well, one that comes to mind as I was thinking last night. So obviously we ran 2 half marathons together.
Oh, yeah.
And Dan did jump in on one of them. And I was just reminiscing last night, and you were very impressive that day. You did indeed finish
Couldn't walk
without
for a week.
any training. You thought
No
it was
training?
No training.
So we made a bet, right? He was like, I could do a half marathon without training, and I'm like,
And Lauren and I are out there
really?
like
As she
training
was
like 5
training
days a
all the
week.
time.
Every day, yeah.
we're like taking it super serious, and
Yeah.
Dan's like, no,
You know, changing our diets, like
Yeah.
all these things. Dan's like, I can do it.
Yeah,
I was like, I bet you $50 you can't do it without walking, right? He did it.
Basically, the rules were I couldn't walk at any point, I couldn't stop at any point, and I couldn't
even
run. I
if you
couldn't
had to go to
run-
the bathroom, did that count as a stop?
Maybe
I
that was
remember.
allowed, but
Okay.
I didn't.
Okay.
And and I also
Strict
couldn't
parameters.
run. I couldn't run
Yeah.
a single mile before that day. I didn't even like. I never was like a long distance runner. Like in track back in high school, I
Right.
was a sprinter. But even after school and in my adult life, I never really ran. Like I would get cardio through some other ways, but but yeah, it was very, very hard. I did do it, and I did end up like telling some other people about the bets, and other people got in. So I think I had like $500 on
my
me on me against
Gosh.
me finishing. So it all ended up going good, and I was really glad I did it.
Yeah.
And I've been running ever since. So I love
Have you
going
run
up
any
to,
half
like,
since?
No, but
Okay.
I love to just go to like North Park
Yeah.
and run the 5 mile loop and
Yeah.
stuff. I enjoy it now.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was very painful, and I didn't even have like good running shoes. I think I had like a pair of Nike Shocks or
Yeah.
something, and
Nice.
my legs were just like.
Well, I can
in
only
so much
imagine
pain.
because I know how hard we trained, and I couldn't move after either time we ran it. I mean, stairs the next day were unbearable. I
Yeah.
mean, step at a time,
yeah.
and getting out of bed, getting up out of a chair. I mean,
Yeah.
those were tough times those next couple of days. So I can only imagine how much pain you were in.
Well, I remember one picture. You know how they have the photographers along
Yeah.
the way? And I was like, oh my gosh, he's walking. He is walking. And there was like the slightest little bit of space between the pavement and his shoe. And I
But
was like,
still keeping the
he
motion.
was like, he looked like he was in so much pain. And he goes, no, there's space between, like he was running.
That's
It was
so
the
Very
funny.
slightest
slow.
jog you could imagine.
That's so funny. But you did finish, but we did beat you.
Yeah.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
But you did
I
finish.
just
Thank you for
wanted to
adding
finish.
that.
Yeah. But
we did win.
I couldn't believe
We
that
did.
there was people that were still had another half to go.
Yeah.
Like I just gained so much respect for that. I mean,
know.
granted, people train for a while, but a marathon's no joke.
Yeah.
But
I'm reading David Goggins' book right now, and he was commenting on how when he was in his heyday, like people running ultra marathons, there weren't that many at all. And then he
Yeah.
reached a certain point where, as he was getting older, he was seeing hundreds of people sign up for these 100 ultra marathons. He's like, it is like that. Have I reached my limit? And then, not to ruin his book, but you should check it out. Never
Oh.
finished, but he tackles a 240-mile
Oh,
race in
wow.
Moab, Utah,
Gosh.
and like reading it was just inspiring.
that's
So
crazy.
I think I can handle 3 miles a day in the morning. I tell myself
Yeah.
every time I don't want to run, I'm like, if he can do 240, I can do 3 before I go
Yeah.
to work.
That's a good way
There-
to put it.
there's
yeah.
a person at the gym that has the Iron Man tattoo on his leg, and I just look at that thinking like, that is so like badass. Like that is cool. And if I did something like that, I would certainly get a tattoo.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna get a tattoo for the half marathon, but I don't
Why
have any.
not?
I'm not a
That'd be
tattoo
great.
guy, but if I somehow completed the Iron Man, I would get that like right on my leg
Yeah.
or something.
Yeah, we have a friend who, two of our friends, they're a dynamic duo couple.
Shout out
and
to Laura and Juan.
Yeah, we love you guys. But they are Ironman competitors, and I think Laura just qualified for like some national competition. I mean,
Yeah.
she's
Wow.
she's
It's
a
intense.
beast. Yeah, she's a beast. But I can't imagine running, swimming, or biking that long. So, but pretty crazy. But do you guys have any races or things outside of work that are coming up that you guys are looking forward to?
Trying to think.
Definitely not any races.
No races. I mean, I do enjoy an occasional 5K. I mean,
Yeah.
That's really fun. But no races in the queue. But
Yeah.
maybe next year.
Yeah.
Maybe
I know
next year's half marathon.
Mark.
I would like to do the relay or something. I think that'd be fun. But
Mark is like committed to the full
Oh.
half. No, not the full.
Yeah.
Just the full. the full half marathon. Yeah.
Whoa, slow down.
wow.
Yeah,
Wait,
the
is
half.
that recorded?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, he said he was gonna do it.
Yeah.
After reading that book.
Wow.
He's like,
Yeah,
I'm gonna do
I
it.
committed to it last year, and then we bought a townhouse, and then decided to renovate everything during the peak training once I set up for. So,
Yeah.
but no excuses this year. So,
I think I'd do it.
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, you can
Yeah.
do it.
Definitely.
If Dan can do it without training, you can do it with
Yes.
training.
For
with
sure.
training.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
good stuff.
Yeah.
Anything else that you guys would like to say
Well-
before we wrap up the episode?
Well, I would just like to thank you guys, and what a power couple you are. Thank you for having us. And I mean, I glad that we can be here today.
Yeah, we were so excited to have you guys. We're so proud of you guys, and it's been amazing to watch your guys' journey
Yeah.
and big things to come. So.
Hopefully, there's possibly a little Perkins on the way sometime.
Yeah,
Our little
maybe.
Charlotte needs a
Not-
friend.
Someone talk to
but-
this one over here.
Not yet,
But-
but soon.
Yeah. But
Maybe
no,
in a
thank you
year.
for having us. This was a really cool experience, and
Mhm.
also great to see you guys
Yeah,
anytime
for
we
sure.
can.
Yeah, you guys are the best,
So-
and so many good memories, and this is just adding to the memories. So
Yeah.
thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And that is it for today's episode. We do actually have someone lined up for next week as well. So that should be a really great episode. Tune in, and we'll see you guys next week.
Thanks a lot, guys.